Okay, so I keep getting asked to make a video about me doing a, structured walk with this one. And I just want to first go off and say, structure is not the right word to describe a walk. Alright, because when I'm going to decide to take one of my dogs on a walk, I am not thinking, okay, this walk is going to follow A through C, something like that. That's what structure is. Following a set system. I do not know how the walk is going to go. We are going to go on a walk, right? And I'm just going to show how I do that. Yes. I don't know how the walk might go. Will she react? Will she not? Will she be off? I don't know, but this is how I walk my dog. I do not care about her being in that heel unless I specifically tell her. Now, if she decides to give me that contact, I will look at her. I mean, I will mark and reward. If she looks at me, I will mark and reward that. Good job. I just don't want her pulling. That is the only rule. Good girl. That is the only rule of my walks, but that is not structure. That is just expectation. I have an expectation of how I want the walk to go, but if it will go that way or not, it's hard to tell. You just don't know until you actually start. So this is just us. I mark and reward when she looks at me. She can sniff if she wants. She can be out in front. I might practice some easy things she knows, like a sit, a down, even a heel, a switch in the middle, anything. But I'm just looking, the number one rule is she has to keep this leash loose. That is the only rule about a walk. This is not structured. This is just expectation. Structure is very different than expectation. What I might even do is do a turn right. She has to turn with me. Expectation. And sometimes that expectation isn't even reality. One turn, mark and reward. She's looking at me like that. She does have shoes on today. I typically don't put shoes on her just because generally she gets very licky with her paws after I take them off, which can cause, she's given herself paw infections that way. But I took her on a walk yesterday, and I noticed that there's ice melt. Once I saw she was limping, and then there was ice melt on the ground more so up there. Good girl. So now if I want her closer, I can say, Kira, heel. Good. And that. I do not walk her in a heel. Yes. Okay. That dog's gaits, if you're going on a walk, sure, is for you to get your exercise in, right? But it's also for the dog. This walk, if you're going to decide to take your dog on your walk, it should be about the dog. Good job. Good job. If she decides she wants to stop and sniff something, I will let her. Because that is how dogs explore everything. Who am I to decline? I will loosen the leash. This is her walk. This is not my walk. I also typically don't take my dogs on walks. Now hear me out. I typically don't take my dogs on walks because when I take on walks, they have to be on this leash because this is a road. So they have to be on leash. And that just doesn't give all their needs met. Like, for instance, having them off leash and run around the yard can, or taking them on the trail that we have right behind. Now, obviously not every dog is able to be off leash like that, but there's a lot of better things you can do than just a walk. Now, if that is the only thing you can do, that's fine. That is completely fine. You're still giving your dog something. Now, if I call her, Kira, yes, expectation. So I'm not going to have her out here too long because I just want to show the expectation, and I am actually going to take her to the trail. But I do not structure my walks. I just randomly just choose, hey, I'm going to have her on a long line, going to have her, on a traffic leash. We're going to go up and down for a little bit. Good girl. There is no structure. Good girl. Kira! Now I will give her heel. Good. Now if I tell her heel, yes, she can have her snout to the ground when she's walking. If I am asking for focus, Kira, for focus, then that's when I don't want that. Her heel means relaxed. Focus. For instance, spin. Good. Spin. Yes. So I can practice dumb things. Good job. Okay. And then I will give her freedom back. But this is not structure. This is expectation. It's all about how you set your expectations and what rules you want for your dog to follow during that walk. My girls only have one simple rule. They are not allowed to put pressure on the leash. Woo. Not allowed to put pressure on the leash. That is the only rule they need. She also runs nicely. And what do I do when I get back? What do I do? Give her her freedom back. Free! Or, sorry, okay. Oh, free is not her word. I work with another dog. Uses free. Yeah, that is how I do the walks. I hope this is finally enough to satisfy. It's not structure. It's just a simple rule. One rule is really all you need with a walk. And that rule can be up to you. But there needs to at least be one rule when taking your dog on a walk. The second secret rule: let the dog be a dog. Hope this helps. Yes, I'm gonna take her on the trail now. And yeah. Well, I can still have a little bit of time. Just a little bit. I can take my phone out of my trusty thing, so we can actually get dog content. Wanna go? Hello? This is the trail. Down the trail. I never really have her shoes on, but I just want to take them off. Put them back inside just to come back out. So I'm just not gonna do that. Anyway, so that's gonna end it here. There is no such thing as a structured walk, in my opinion. Kira says bye as she leaves me. Oh my goodness, she would never. Anyways, that's all. That's my TED Talk for the day. Goodbye.